There's something different about Kyrie Irving. For the past year or so, there have been plenty of rumors circulating that Kyrie wants to reunite with LeBron James in Los Angeles. LA even made 2 attempts at getting him. The first attempt was last summer, and the other before the most recent season. But both times, Brooklyn refused to send him to LA, instead sending him to Dallas. Earlier this summer, more rumors suggested that he would sign with the Lakers, but of course, he signed a new contract to return to Dallas. He even told a little kid in a store that he wasn't going to the Lakers, and that he was on Dallas. So it would seem that he's committed, and that's why we're making this video. Kyrie has seemingly found a home with great teammates, great coaching, great organization, and now he has a 3-year, $126 million contract, which he went to social media right after it was signed to show his approval. Mavericks owner Mark Cuban said something quite interesting, and it just makes this feel more and more like a match made in heaven. I think Kyrie is mature to the point now where he knows it's Luca's team. Luca knows this too. He knows, and that's what's important, and he's willing to play more of a shooting guard role. When Luca is out, we have a point guard who can score and create for other guys. They're both players who can make their teammates better, and we didn't have that before. Once Luca went out, we struggled. We struggled mightily, and Luca just had to do too much. We put a lot of pressure on Luca. We did struggle defensively after the trade, but that was for many reasons. It wasn't Luca or Kyrie, but offensively, we had one of the top lineups. We were the top 2 or 3 in the NBA. First, let's address the first half of that. Mark Cuban said that both Kyrie and Luca have an understanding of their roles. Luca is the number 1 option, and Kyrie is the second option, which is a role that Kyrie excelled at when playing with LeBron in Cleveland. Kyrie also has a ton of respect for Luca and how he plays the game. Recently, he was even seen watching Luca's EuroLeague highlights on his live stream. Now, addressing the second half when he talked about how the team, not just Luca and Kyrie, struggled defensively, which was true, but now with Grant Williams, Derek Lively, and Rashawn Holmes on their roster, that might just be turning around for this upcoming season. We're going to talk more about them and their impact a little bit later. When Irving and Luca shared the court, they were electric. And it was a natural fit. That isn't really surprising either, due to Irving's ability to be a co-star and a player who can play the 1 or 2 guard at a high level. You don't necessarily have to wonder how, when, and where he'll get his touches. He's Kyrie Irving. He's going to get his touches for sure. And Luca has no problem deferring either. We saw this when Spencer Dinwiddie and Jalen Brunson were his teammates. You could tell by how he spoke about them that he respected them as players and, most importantly, as leaders. With Kyrie being light years ahead of their talent skill-wise, he'll have no problem giving the ball to the wizard and letting him do his thing. Kyrie is a champion and has gotten it done on the biggest stages, which Luca has yet to reach. So even though it's Luca's team, they both have something that the other doesn't, allowing them to learn from one another. After losing a close game to the Sacramento Kings in their first game played together, Luca admitted that he should have given the ball to Kyrie down the stretch. He said this: "It's my bad. Should have given it back to Kai. For me, it's still a learning process, but for sure, I should have given it back. He was definitely hot down the stretch, which was on me." And Kyrie would respond to Luca by saying this: "Either way, it was going to be a great shot, him shooting it or me shooting it. No pressure in terms of give me the ball in that situation if he feels confident enough to take the shot. If he would have passed it to me, it may be a different result, maybe not, but the what ifs don't matter." This post-game interview back and forth just shows their level of respect and confidence in each other. They know they're the 2 most skilled players in the NBA, and they're willing to live with whatever decision the other makes. Now that we know that their chemistry is steadily on the rise, let's talk about Kyrie's impact on the court and how it'll help the team this upcoming season. As we all know, Kyrie is one of the most skilled players in NBA history, and he mostly shows that on his finishes at the rim. He finished 73% of his shots at the rim on 4 attempts per game. His body control is unreal, and his soft touch makes it to where he can kiss it off the glass at any angle and convert the layup. His former teammate, Iman Shumpert, credited Irving's ability to his childhood, where the rim he played on was missing the backboard. You don't see that he explained that he grew up playing on a rim that needed to include pieces on the backboard. So that's how he learned those weird angles to twist the ball off of, because his backboard was missing parts. So picture going up to the rim this way. You have no backboard to finish now that somebody's on your arm. So he learned how to look forward, spin it so that he could hit the left side and go in on the right, because he didn't have a backboard to put it on the other side. I'm like a dog. That's unbelievable. Damn, Shumpert, you may have just needed to keep that a secret. Now you're gonna have kids around the country purposely shattering their backboards. Nonetheless, that's still a fascinating concept, and I can absolutely see how that would help his finishing ability. He isn't just great at finishing either. His mid-range is just as beautiful to watch. He isn't really considered a mid mid-range assassin, mainly because he's what I like to call a tweener, meaning most of his mid-range jump shots come just below the free throw line and at the rim. Many aren't even jump shots. Sometimes they're off-balance floaters or push shots, similar to De'Aaron Fox's game. Even with that being said, he ranked near the top 20 in mid-range jumpers, shooting 49% on 3.5 attempts per game. The way he can break you down before elevating is a sight to see. The fact that the Mavericks have Kyrie and Luca as their shot creators is scary for opposing defenses. And while he isn't known as a playmaker, he still averaged 5.5 assists last season. He is a skilled passer and decision maker, but it often gets overlooked due to his handles, shot creation, and finishing ability. Like Ja Morant, he isn't known as a passer, yet he was top 10 in assists last season. Kyrie is extremely unselfish. He never plays hero ball. That's a very underrated aspect of his game that doesn't really get talked about because he has the amount of skill where he could come down the court and dribble out the clock for 20 seconds before chucking up a shot like prime James Harden. He knows when and where he needs to take over, never really forcing anything. But just how effective will he and Luca be as the Mavs backcourt pair? We gotta look at what they did together last season to figure that out. When they shared the court, they had a 5-11 record, which isn't the best, but most of that had to do with their team's lackluster defense. They are included in that, don't get me wrong. But Kyrie averaged 26 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists while shooting 52% from the field, 39 from 3, and 93% from the free throw line with Luca on the floor. Yeah, those are big-time numbers for a number 2. Contrary to what you might think, it did not interfere with Doncic's game. He averaged 30, 8, and 7 on 48, 33, and 80 splits. This is a perfect scoring duo. They've already shown us that they can still score at an elite MVP level while sharing the court. Offense will not be a problem for Dallas this season, that's a fact. But if they want to make it far in the playoffs and potentially get to the NBA Finals, the team has to lock down defensively. There's no other way around it. In the last 15 games of the season, the Mavericks had the 24th ranked defense in the NBA, which won't get you anywhere, let alone the finals. However, as I mentioned earlier, things are looking much better on this end of the floor. For starters, they now have Grant Williams, one of the handful of players who can guard all 5 positions. If you don't believe us, all you need to do is search his defense on YouTube. And for those who will try and say he can't guard centers like Joel Embiid or Nikola Jokic, well, my response to that is, who can? That honestly means nothing. His versatility on defense will give Dallas a huge boost. And while he isn't a great defensive stopper like Herb Jones or Drew Holiday, he's still a good one. He also has tons of experience guarding elite scorers in big games, such as Jimmy Butler in the Eastern Conference Finals last season. Jimmy did get the better of him, but if you go back and watch, you'll see that he played great defense. Butler was just better. It's as simple as that. Dallas also drafted Derek Lively, the 7-footer out of Duke University. He was a great rim protector in college. And as we've seen over the years, almost all of the best college rim protectors easily translated over to the NBA as early as their rookie seasons. The Mavs were 18th in points allowed in the paint. He'll help in this area. And they also picked up Rashawn Holmes this offseason. He's a high-energy player who will contest every shot at the rim. Plus, he's a tenacious rebounder on both ends. You add them with Josh Green and Maxi Kleber, and you've got a solid defense on paper. All in all, Kyrie is coming off of a great year statistically, and he's looking even better this offseason in all of the open runs. He's committed and bought into the Mavericks and their organization. Now, it's time to ball. But what do you think? How far do you think the Kyrie and Luca backcourt will lead the Mavericks? Let us know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.